We're going to look today at Y in a word. And there are three things to consider when we look at Y in a word. And in this particular one, Y is silent. So that's number one. Y is silent. So when we say away, the last sound is the A. I know I keep telling you that T-line isn't phonetic, but there are some exceptions, and all the exceptions come in that concrete that we're building at the beginning of the theory. So let's get rid of the Y because it's too long, the outline will be. So that's a silent letter. We need that initial A, we need the W of course, and we need the final A. So your outline should look like this: A, W, A. Down where possible, up where necessary. And I showed you last week how when a letter dips, such as a W or a V, then the indicator A would have to go upwards. If it didn't, you'd have A, W, A, and that would just look like way. When you write at speed, it would just look like a wobbly W. So that one is not the best outline, that one is. So first of all then, when Y is silent, there's lots of instances when Y is silent at the end of a word. Words like bay, say, lay, etc. You can think of many others. Second one is when Y says Y. In words like boy, joy, enjoy, royal. Now if you notice, I'm emphasising those words because if you're unsure, when you say bay, say, lay, the lips go back. When you say boy and joy, the lips come forward. So if your lips come forward, you've got a y sound. So boy then would be written B and Y. Toy would be written T and Y because the lips come forward when you say that word. And the third one is when Y says I. Now last lesson we did the indicators, and you'll remember that the I indicator slopes in this direction, that one. So when Y says I, we use the I. Again, the Y is too long to write. So let's take a word like buy. It's got a Y in the spelling, but it's silent, buy. So we do the B and the I. If this is making you sigh, have a go at that one. S and I, because of course the GH are silent letters. So S, I do anti-clockwise, and then the I. You might have gone clockwise and then the I. Both are correct. But we read from top to bottom, left to right. So the S goes at the top and then the I. If you're doing this, if you did the S first and then the I, you may read that back as is, because if we're reading from top to bottom, we read the I first and then the S. So top to bottom, left to right when we're transcribing. So those three things need to be considered then. When Y is silent, when Y says y, and when Y says I, using that I indicator. Let's look at some more examples where Y comes at the end of a word and says I. Remember that saying that I gave you last time, which is down where possible, up where necessary. And I demonstrated it in the word away. So let's take a word, and there's loads of them, like many, many, sunny, happy, funny. All those words have a Y at the end, and the Y doesn't say E, happy. It's a short sound of I. So happy, family, funny, sunny, I. So it's the I sound. So many then would be men, MN, and I. Now if I come down with the I, that could look at speed like a G. So down where possible, but in this case, up where necessary, to give this nice sharp angle. So sunny then, S inside the curve of the N, the Y says I, up where necessary. Again, if we came downwards, it might look like SG. Happy, so we start with the H on the line, and then the P, and then the I. And finally, funny. We could do this two ways. We could use the upward F, the N, and the I, or you could use the downward F before the N and the I. My preference is the downward F before an N because it's so fast. Look, oh, this is where we get our thrills. Where we're going all one motion instead of F, stop, N. So I prefer that one, but either one is correct. So when you consider that Y says I, think about these, usually at the end of a word, will go upwards because it's necessary.